You are listening to a Harbinger Studios podcast.
Hello and welcome back to Creator Conversations. This is a podcast where I interview streamers and other creators about what they do, why they do it, and much more. If any of you don't know me, I am T-Rex, or Troy, and I stream at twitch.tv/T-Rex. That's TWRECKX_. I know there's been a bit of a break between this episode and the last. That has been because of me being in and out of town a bunch, and it has been difficult to schedule times around that. Going forward, we should be back on schedule for every other Tuesday. If you want to keep up with any news or updates, follow us on Twitter at CreatorConvoPod. For this episode, we have gamewithGRAY, also known as pirategrayson. She is a force to be reckoned with on all platforms. Her content is wholesome and welcoming for everyone. Her streams are personal, relatable, and hard to click away from. I am incredibly grateful to have her as a guest here, and I kindly urge you all to go check her out. gamewithGRAY on Twitch, that's gamewithGRAY, and pirategrayson on YouTube, and also gamewithGRAY on YouTube. This podcast is bi-weekly, and I will try to keep up with that schedule to the best of my ability. If you have any recommendations for creators you would like to see on the podcast, tweet us at CreatorConvoPod on Twitter. If you enjoy the podcast, we ask you to tell one friend who you think would find some enjoyment or interest in this. If you tweet at us, we'll mention you on the show. Thank you all for listening, and let's get into the interview with Gray. Welcome back to Creator Conversations. This week we have Game with Gray. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm great. Welcome. How about we start off with you just telling everyone a little bit about yourself and what you do?
All right. Well, my name is Gray, also known as Grayson, or I go by Pirate Grayson pretty much everywhere except for gaming content. Gaming content, I go by Game with Gray. I have a variety of things that I do. I do a lot of gaming, at least lately. I used to make a lot of videos on YouTube doing gaming playthroughs and just general vlogging, daily vlogging. And I'm just kind of a girl just trying to figure out her way through life and sharing the process ultimately.
So what is the history with your name? I mean, obviously you got Gray in there, but
yeah. Okay, so the username I go by everywhere is Pirate Grayson, and that kind of stemmed from, do you remember MySpace back in the day?
It was a little bit before my time. I never had an account, but like my family members did.
Well, during the MySpace era, there was like a weird thing where everybody would put just a random word in front of their name. And I like enjoyed pirates and totally not anything to do with Pirate Bay or anything like that. Cough, cough. So I just was like, oh, I like the name Pirate. So I'll just do Pirate Grayson. And Grayson is my name. So that's kind of where that stemmed from. And then the Game with Gray was just pretty straightforward. Like, oh, we're going to play games with Gray.
So did you have your Pirate Grayson account and like online presence long before your Game with Gray?
Yes. So I think I started making content. I started in 2010 and I went by Pirate Grayson or Pirate Gray for short. And I think I want to say a year or two after starting making any kind of content, I was like, well, you know, something I've always enjoyed was video games and I want to share my playthroughs. So then I created the whole gaming content portion of what I did. And that kind of just took over and I love it so much.
Mm-hmm. Did that originate on YouTube?
Yes. Yeah. So actually all of where I began was with YouTube. And then I started to dabble into live streams like with Blog TV and there's like a bunch of different live stream websites that came about. And I enjoyed the live process so much. So much. So yeah.
Yeah. So what kind of content were you making before you were making gaming content?
Honestly, I wish I had an answer other than vlogs. So It was just like a lot of random stuff, you know, like, oh, I was like an 18-year-old kid, just fresh out of high school. I was like, I'm going to just share random things that I find interesting or fun or cool and share my day. I used to be a part of a daily vlog channel, and that was mostly what I did a lot of the time too. So just sharing day-to-day stuff, really, really basic things and just random thoughts and things of the sort.
I think that's awesome because like I could never make content just like talking.
It's interesting. When I go back to watch my old videos, I'm like, oh my God, this is so cringe. What the heck? I'm such a child. Jesus.
Yeah. I just get like incredibly anxious and nervous when I don't have a video game to talk about in front of me. So.
Yeah, the video games make it a lot easier to just have stuff to focus on instead of it just being solely on you.
Yeah. So when you started the gaming account, did you like put all your focus into the gaming, or did you focus on both accounts and have them grow like together?
I focused on both. I think what I would do with the gaming content on YouTube, I would just say Call of Duty came out, right? I like a lot of first person shooters. So Call of Duty came out. That was like one of my big things I love to do playthroughs of, like the campaigns that they had until they stopped doing that for a little while. So the game would come out. I would be there at like GameStop 12 a.m. get the game. This was before you could download. And I'd bring back the game home, sit down and just binge as much as I could of the campaign, recording it with my Elgato, what was it? Some game capture device, and recording my audio. I didn't have camera at that time either. And just doing it all with my MacBook and just binging through the whole game and putting it up as quickly as I could. So I would just do like little binges, but schedule each thing so it would be uploading every day, but be able to do it all within like a day or two.
Mm-hmm. How did those perform?
The gaming content, the playthroughs actually do fairly well. I think there's still people that are watching. Like I really don't like Grand Theft Auto as much, but I did a playthrough of the whole campaign in like story mode. And I still to this day have people that watch it. And I posted those in like whenever the game first came out, probably 2013, 2014, I think, or 15. And people still watch. I'm quite surprised. But some of them
crazy.
do well. It just depends on the game and like those who might find it, if they're interested in it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So has your growth been like gradual across all platforms, or has it been like, was there like an event or a video you made or like a game you played or any kind of like specific piece of content that really made you get a lot of followers at any given time?
That's hard to figure out. I feel like it's been a gradual growth. I know that the daily vlogging things that I was a part of definitely did help boost that a bit. And also just like kind of fueled the process, being as that was like my focus, my full-time thing. And I don't think that there was like any specific event. There might have been, one or two videos that just performed really well. I just don't know off the top of my head what they were. I try to not look at the numbers as hard as it is, just because I know how it can badly affect a person's mind sometimes.
Yeah, absolutely. So is your approach to growth like just make a lot of content all the time?
So if you had asked me this question a few years ago, I'd probably been like, yeah, I just have to keep posting stuff and like, bashing things out, like get it all out as quickly as possible, get as much out as possible. But now I'm at this point in my life and my mind where I'm like, is this what I want to do? And is this something that I want to really put so much effort into spreading myself out there, which I know is very beneficial for growth. But I've been struggling with that lately. Ideally, I would love to be doing that. Just posting as much as I can. Did I just answer that question? I don't even know if I did.
No, yeah. Totally.
But yeah, I wish that I put more time and effort into that for the growth, because I know it could be extremely beneficial to share content and different little bites of content all across, many different platforms.
Yeah. So this is such a bag of questions that has been unleashed. So, like, what are your thoughts on Twitter? Like, do you use Twitter in conjunction with streaming? Do you like Twitter as a platform?
Personally, Twitter's probably my favorite social media platform. Yeah. Twitter's something I've used forever since, I don't know exactly when I joined, but I remember back when I had to text in my tweets before I could even, like, before smartphones were a big thing. Like, I would text in my tweets about, you know, some dumb stuff going on in school. But I love it so much. I really, personally, I don't post enough content that I create on Twitter, but it is extremely I think I see it as an extremely valuable platform for sharing content.
But you just like enjoy the platform itself.
Yeah, I love it so much. It's just so fun.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so what are your thoughts on like diversifying your content and like making content about different things other than like just gaming? Obviously you started as like a vlogger, but
Yeah.
I've seen in your like info you talk about like a little bit about like cooking and baking.
Yeah, I really wish I did more. I'm really bad at it, to be honest. Oh God, I'm so awful. Like my partner is way better than me with both cooking and baking. But just in regards to like diversifying, I think it's very valuable. I think it's something where you don't want to put all your eggs in one basket. You don't want to also spread yourself thin. So I think sticking to the core values that you find, you know, the things that you are most interested in to focus on are very, like, it's a good way to go about creating content. You know, you see people who are doing so many different things and you're like, oh, well, I should be doing that, or I could be doing that. And that's something I like, but you have to kind of hone in on the things that you're good at and the things that you enjoy doing and focus on those types of things for content. But I do think it's really valuable to diversify, to have multiple things, because I mean, for me personally, I love gaming, but there's times where I'm just like, I don't want to game. Like, I want to do something like artsy. I want to do something that's like active, go out and do something. You know, you get a little cabin fever. So having a little bit of diversity and adding in things like cooking, streaming, art, crafts, whatever, you know, you might find interesting, because with streaming on Twitch specifically, I was really just anywhere. You can make and do anything. So sticking to just gaming is kind of limiting yourself and limiting your own personal growth. And I find that a lot of my content that I create is more, it's like, it seems kind of selfish to say, but I feel like I learn so much about myself while I'm creating and doing something different every day.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And
I love it.
I think that's a very beneficial part of creating any kind of art or content.
Absolutely.
So I guess my question would be like, how impromptu can you get with your stream? Like, I know you have like a calendar that everyone can look at that you like post on and plan out. And speaking of that, is that like a lot of work to do that?
Not really. Initially setting it up was a bit, and just like figuring it out. Just remembering to update it is important. It's actually something I saw another streamer, Alicia Griffin, I believe her username is. She is so organized, and I love it so much. Oh man, I'm an organized freak. Like, I love organizing, and I saw that she had done that. And I was like, oh, that's a really good idea. And I just looked into how to set it up, and I just created a calendar that's like through Google Calendars, and I write up my schedule. If there's anything that I'm, you know, like an event stream or something, I'll put in information. And I also kind of use that for myself to keep track of if I try out different schedules and like how I felt after the schedule change, or, you know, just like a little journal for myself to look back on and be like, oh, okay, so this is where, you know, I tried 2 streams a day and what happened? How did I feel after the fact? But it's a really useful tool, I think, personally, and people can sync it up to their own calendar. Like, if you have Google Calendars on your phone and you use it, you can sync it to your own calendar and be able to like show and hide whether or not I'm streaming, you know, that kind of thing.
Yeah. And does that like do well, do you think? Do a lot of people use that?
I don't know if a lot of people use it, but I do know that there are people who do use it and solely use it for keeping up with whatever I'm doing. So it's just like another extra little thing that adds to sharing when you start streaming, because people can turn on notifications for it too. So yeah, I think it's a useful little thing. I don't know if it's very used. I wish I could keep track of it. I unfortunately don't know how. But it's useful for you as well. So yeah, it helps me kind of lay out everything for myself, and also, as I said, keep track of, you know, how I'm feeling during the the times where I try out different schedules, and just also to look back to see like, oh, okay, what game did I play? So if I'm like right now, I'm currently in the process. I think this coming week I'll be finishing Life is Strange 2. So I'm going to like write down what days that I completed or played those games, so that I just know like, okay, well, this day is something that I did more artsy day. This day was something that I did like a playthrough day, and also just generally when I did it, so that I can go back if I need to look through the VODs to highlight anything too, which can be useful.
Yeah, and I feel like there's somewhere in here there's a question of like, how planned out do you want to be? Because like if there's one day that you have like a game like a Life is Strange day planned, and you're like, I really don't feel like playing video games today, can you just like tweet out and be like, hey everyone, I don't feel like playing this game today, let's do a baking stream or whatever? Like, is that an option?
Yeah, ultimately with my community, they know that I kind of I like to have some structure and just a general plan, but a lot of the time it goes off the rails. Like we never really stick to everything that I set in place always. And I also feel like sticking to a plan kind of feels restrictive. So it can be kind of hindering in some ways. Like I know that, I mean, I had personal things that happened IRL that stopped me from playing, finishing out specifically Life is Strange 2. I have 2 more episodes of the game, and I had personal things where, I had to stop and I couldn't play because of those things. And they get that. And that's kind of like just having that flexibility is good. But I like having a general idea. But
yeah, totally.
I don't think restricting yourself is a good idea if you're creating, because I feel like the beauty of content creation and streaming and just making things online in general is the outlet to be creative. And if you're like, okay, we're going to structure every day this way, that way, then it kind of takes away the beautiful beauty, whole redundancy of creating. So yeah.
Yeah, I totally agree. So you started on YouTube, and then you found Twitch, and would you say that Twitch is now like your mainstay and your main platform?
Absolutely. So I started streaming in 2015. And I was streaming from like an iMac, and I just was like, this is great. I get to communicate with the community and have like real life interactions, and it be at the moment instead of just sitting and waiting for comments. And then I started to really, really get into it. And at the same time, I was also going through personal things with the daily vlogging and just vlogging in general, creating videos on YouTube that started to make me really hate the process of making videos. Yeah, so I started hating the process on YouTube and falling in love with the live streaming part.
I've noticed that you still put videos out.
Yeah, I try to.
Yeah. So, and are you editing those yourself?
Most of them, if anything, all except one, I've edited myself. So I recently had someone approach me, and they were like, I really want to practice, editing, and I really enjoy it. And they offered like helping or just like putting together a highlight video. And so I uploaded that. But more or less, I do edit my own videos.
So that must just be like a ton of work to be streaming and like filming occasionally and editing and putting everything out and regularly.
That's what I've been struggling with lately. It's like, I know I need to be making videos on YouTube to share the content I am creating currently to the platform of YouTube that was my baby before. Yeah. But that balance is so hard to find. I'm really terrible at managing my time. Like that's probably my biggest weakness is time management. So dividing the time, it's the worst. Dividing the time for, making those videos after streaming for, 6, 7, 8, 12 hours. It's a bit much, but I see people that are doing it and are kicking butt with it. Yeah. And it's so inspiring. And I'm like, oh man, I need to be doing this myself.
Totally. Yeah. And speaking of that, I've seen that you do stream for like 8 to 12 hours sometimes.
Yeah.
Is that an impromptu thing? Do you just do that because you want to be there for that long, or are you like forcing yourself to stay live?
I wish I could say that I was forcing myself. No, it's all impromptu. It's mostly impromptu. Like I've had a lot of 12-hour streams, like a lot of 12-hour streams.
So long.
But it goes by so fast for me. I'm enjoying it so much. I'm like, wow, it's already 12 hours. What? Let's go for 24. But yeah, no, it's a lot of impromptu type of 12-hour streams. Last year, I did try to implement event type streams once a month. That would be 12-hour community day streams that would be focused on community based games and just talking with the community. But there's something about it that just, it was very draining emotionally. So I'm trying to cut that back and just kind of start at my normal time and see where it goes. Like yesterday, I personally had one on a Saturday. I started at 2 p.m. and my original goal was like, oh, go until like 9 p.m. You know, give a good couple hours, maybe a little longer than our normal stream. And it ended up going for 11 hours.
That's crazy.
So yeah, it's mostly impromptu just because I just enjoy it so much. It's so fun.
Yeah. And you spend a lot of time in like your just chatting screen as well. Yeah,
I love that part. So I try to add gaming in because I feel like I can be very boring. Like I repeat myself all the time. There's no way that people want to listen to me talk about the same thing over and over again. So the gaming content is like more or less because I want to play, and also because it's something that I can, have as entertainment. But I do always try to fit in at least 2 hours of just talking with my community. Starting and ending, I like to just sit and talk for an hour each. But I love it because it's like, it's the time to say hi to everybody, see how everybody's been doing, catch up, that kind of thing. And just share little things.
So at what point did you like start doing that? Because I mean, how did your community on Twitch grow? Did like you get a lot of people from YouTube to come over, or did you kind of start from scratch on Twitch?
I definitely think that there was a big portion that came from YouTube, but I think because of that, I would just sit and talk with everybody because I would recognize names from comments and, just sit and talk. And from there, I think I was able to pull in a good amount of new people that would just find me from browsing through Twitch. But ultimately, YouTube, I think definitely played a part in my beginning growth.
Yeah. So you've always kind of done the just chatting thing.
Yeah, I think I'm pretty sure I always have. I can't imagine I not. I feel like I would just feel really weird to start a game immediately. Like I like to just sit down and talk a good bit.
Yeah. Totally. And what do you do if you're like, how do you handle a really busy chat? Like what if your chat is like just going crazy and you can't read every message? Like do you have any approach to that?
I tend to, so I try to read everything and I'll do my best responding. I'm actually trying to work on that myself right now with like when I read a message to, address the person instead of just being like, okay, I'm reading and then not addressing whatever it is that I'm ing to. A lot of the time I end up scrolling back up to wherever I was and then slowly making my way down to the current time.
If you're like playing a video game, that's got to be difficult.
Oh gosh, if I'm playing a game, most of the time I'm like, okay, girl, you can't read and answer everybody, but you can try and you will try. But I know that I have to kind of just let things go sometimes, especially when playing games where it's like, okay, I'm not going to be able to read everything all the time.
Yeah.
But I will try my best.
Yeah, that's awesome. So what kind of games do you like play on stream? What's your like focus?
So focus is hard. I know it's so hard because there's so many damn games out there.
Yeah.
So many and so many great games. Oh my God. Yeah. So I play a lot of first person shooters, RPG style games. And right now, being as I have so many games, I'm trying to get through the ones that are like single player story mode games. And I try to set aside specific days for those types of playthrough style games. But I do also play a lot of like multiplayer games. Lately, I've been really hooked on Dead by Daylight. I played it a while back when it first came out, and then I just kind of left it, and now I'm hooked back on it. It's bad. It's really bad.
That's all right. So, do you put a lot of thought into the games that you play on stream? Like, do you look at how they perform, or do you just play whatever you want to play?
I mostly play whatever I like, whatever I want to play. Sometimes I am restricted based off of, my system specs or something, but mostly it's just whatever I really would like to play. I do sometimes ask, I'll ask subscribers like, hey, this is a list of here's 4 games that I'm interested in playing. Which ones would you prefer, or which one would you prefer to see at this current moment? And then I'll kind of just throw up a poll and see what people say.
Nice.
Yeah.
So what's your history with video games as a whole?
Oh man, it's been, honestly, it's the thing that got me through life. So I wasn't allowed to have a console for a while as a kid. I kind of had not a very restricted childhood, but my mom was very, I want to make sure you're not watching things or playing things that are bad for you. Don't watch Power Rangers. It's too aggressive or something. It was ridiculous a little bit. So I had this neighbor that had a Nintendo 64. So I would go walk up to his house and I would just go and hang out with him in his basement, and we would play Nintendo 64, nice. Playing Smash Bros, Donkey Kong, things like that. And then at one point I had I don't even know exactly what it was. It was something you just plug into the inputs for the TV, and a little controller that had Pac-Man, Frogger. I was about it. I was so about it totally. As a kid. So I've always played video games. My dad was very sick throughout my childhood, and so I always wanted to be home, but I loved playing games. So I would just sit and play games and just be around him and near him. And during middle school, high school time frame, I discovered things like RuneScape and World of Warcraft. And those 2 games got me through so much stuff in my younger years, emotional things going on and just relationship stuff, and also just discovering the beauty of communities.
Yeah, totally.
World of Warcraft kind of opened that up for me entirely. I was a part of private servers because, when you're young and you don't have a job, you can't really make any money, and paying retail is a little expensive. So I would be on a private server and forums for World of Warcraft, and met so many people that I'm still friends with to this day. And yeah, so video games have been that's been a thing for me that's just gotten me through so much in life and growing kind of thing. Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, that's awesome. Do you still play WoW at all?
Actually, I hadn't played in a while, but my partner and I wanted to play. So we started up I think now they have it where you can start the game, start World of Warcraft and get up to level 20 and it's free. Mm-hmm. So my partner and I were let's just start with a new character and just play for a little bit. So we played a couple hours. I miss it so much. But for me, World of Warcraft has such a big part in my heart that I feel weird to stream it. It's too personal for me. So I don't like the idea of streaming it. But I definitely wish I played more. I wish it wasn't so expensive every month.
Yeah, totally.
It adds up.
I get that.
Yeah. Do you play World of Warcraft, or have you played World of Warcraft?
I have in the past. I like to play when the expansions come out and then get to max level and then quit. But I'll subscribe for 1 or 2 months and then stop until the next expansion comes out.
Yeah, soak it in, enjoy it, and then take time for other things, because good God, you have to grind so much on that game.
Yeah, that's all that game is. And I haven't played any classic.
No, yeah, we wanted to, but it wasn't free for the first 20 levels. So we're we'll just play normal.
yeah.
For now.
Yeah. So you have a pretty decked out room and area behind your camera.
Thank you.
Has that been a ongoing thing that's kind of just grown into that, or did you
Oh, absolutely. It's something that's it's progressed over the years, and just figuring out, what's my aesthetic? What do I want? And also just making a space that feels comfortable, happy, and airy for me personally. Because this is where I stream and where I sit at my computer. It's my office. This is a designated room for just my work space. So I want to have something that's very there's stuff that inspires me, art pieces and lights and stuff. I love lights. Lights are so fun. I love fairy lights is what they're I call them fairy lights. Some people call them Christmas lights. They're fairy lights.
Christmas lights are seasonal. Fairy lights aren't.
Exactly. So I just I've always had that in my room too. I feel it's just this really nice ambiance type thing for the room. But it's definitely like all the things that I have in my background are all like slowly progressed over time and decorated specifically for being on camera and also just for when I walk into this room and I'm like, this is my space, my Zen office space. Yeah.
Do you have like a favorite item or thing in there?
That's hard. Oh man. Well, I mean, looking around, there's so many things. I have it's never seen on camera, but I have this really beautiful canvas art piece thing. It's blue, like mix of blues and golds, and it's really pretty. That's really like inspiring creatively. But I'd have to also say like that. And recently I have this thing. It's called a cuddle clone of my dog. And it was a gift for my birthday and Christmas from a dear friend, my friend Patty. And it looks straight up like my dog, and he just sits in the corner.
Yeah, I think I saw like a clip or something on your channel.
Yeah, he's a recent addition, and he just sits in the corner, just staring at the camera with a pirate hat on, and he's kind of my favorite.
That's awesome.
People come in and they're like, why is your dog not moving? And I'm like, it's not my dog.
That's not my dog.
It's really funny. But yeah.
That's awesome. So are you a full-time content creator?
Yes. I probably shouldn't be, TBH, because I need to pick up work to make sure that I can continue to afford just general things, and also so I can put more money into streaming. But right now, yes. So I do full-time, and I have been ultimately online content creation. I've been doing full-time since 2010, and it's been a wild ride, a very wild ride.
Was there ever a time where you like had to quit your job to do it?
No. To do
you just
creation,
grew into it.
Yeah, I got really lucky and met the right people, and like got into certain relationships that helped me grow and learn and be able to do it. And I did work at a restaurant at one point, but that was more or less after a certain life event that happened, and also just trying to help my mom with her personal finances and getting out of my childhood home. And so I was working part-time as like a hostess. It wasn't like anything crazy, but just to help with the general bills. And then once we got out of that house, I was like, I'm going back and diving in. I'm diving back in. And I moved into my current place with my partner. And I was like, I'm going to continue focusing on streaming because this is something I love so much. And just content creation it's so lovely. I enjoy it.
Yeah, that's awesome. Does being full-time put any stress on like getting up and feeling like you have to create content?
Yeah, all the time. That's like the thing is I see people that are like, I love seeing the passion. I love seeing people inspired to create. But I always see people are like, oh, I'm going to do full-time content creation. It's going to be great. I'm going to be making all this money because I see people, making millions out of this. And I'm like, it's not as glamorous and as easy as one thinks. Like, totally. I have resources and know certain things, but I just like have a hard time implementing them, and also just having that balance of like, do I want to force myself to feel like this pressure of I have to constantly create, or do I want to just take the time to enjoy what I'm doing? But if you're wanting to make content full time, it is a constant grind. You will not have a social life. if you can't manage your time, it's so hard to have a social life. Like people with streaming, like you're sitting there for, however many hours. And then after you stream, you need to go back through your clips. You need to go through and highlight things. You need to make videos out of that, upload those. And all of that takes a lot of time. So there is that constant pressure. I remember when I was daily vlogging, that was a huge part of what made me really hate making videos. I don't want to say hate. That's a big word, but really dislike making that kind of content, because there was that pressure of waking up every day and being like, okay, what am I going to do that's going to be entertaining for an entire day and have that video? Yeah,
you got to figure it out fast.
Yep. And there were days that would literally go by of just sitting there staring at a wall being like, what the hell am I going to do? Like my life is quite dull if I'm not forcefully like going out and trying to find things to make and to do, which was kind of, there's positives and negatives. Like there were things in that, it forced me to go out and try new things and do new things. But then there's that emotional and mental, like, oh my God, what am I going to do?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, that sounds hard. So how exactly does like streaming affect your personal life? Do you have to set time aside to like decompress and be with people?
Yeah, a little bit. For me, I've been personally like just struggling through, personal, mental, emotional things. So I definitely do need that decompression time. I always before streams, I try to like just sit down and like maybe like watch a show or something, just kind of zone out, get into a good mindset. It's really hard when you, I feel like I'm saying things and it sounds like it's all negative, but I promise there are positives. There's times where like I'll be in a bad mood, just maybe it's one of those days you wake up angry or some things just went wrong and oh man, things are falling over, spilling everywhere. Oh, everything's just going wrong. And it's hard to just be like, okay, I'm going to just zone out real quick and click start streaming and then start. Like you need to take the time for yourself and have that little decompression before and after. Yeah, absolutely.
Totally. I feel like as a streamer, there's like this stigma that you kind of have to be around on Twitch, on other people's channels, and just like on the platform as a whole. Do you find it hard to like spend time on the platform when you're not streaming?
Yes and no. So sometimes during the decompression time that we just spoke of, I try to go to other streams and spend the time there and be like, okay, this is my like zone out, chill and hang out with other friends, make new friends, find new people, maybe be inspired by those new people, and things like that. Yeah,
totally. I think you can definitely find a lot of cool things that other channels do by doing that.
Oh yeah. And it's definitely hard as a streamer to be in other streams because it's either you're streaming, you're working on your content, or you're sleeping.
Yeah.
Or
exactly.
you're like trying to handle your personal things.
Yeah.
So it can be a bit of a struggle to take the time to join in other streams. But I think for me, I have 2 days that I take off of streaming. So during one of those days, I make it a point to play games off stream because I want to make sure that I still enjoy the games. Yeah. And then I also hop into some other streams while I'm playing the games and just hang out there, watch, and just enjoy their presence and content.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's a lot of games.
Yeah.
What kind of goals do you have, like small or large?
Oh man, I feel like a lot of my goals aren't more so pertaining to the content, but just my personal growth. A lot of it's just, finding things, because I feel like even over the past decade, I'm still finding or trying to figure out, who I am as a person. What kind of things do I enjoy now? What kind of things do I want to make? What kind of things do I want to learn? And I feel like a lot of my goals are just, me, like figure out me more and figure out what makes me happy and to get out of, states of depression or getting through anxiety. I really want to personally go and learn how to be better with communication and addressing things and keeping one track mind, because I tend to bounce around a lot when I'm streaming, and also just in general. So that's a kind of a goal. And then big goals for growth, I guess it would be just to, if we're talking like just streaming content wise, to be better at creating more things that are diverse amongst different platforms. So, maybe try out TikTok, or Byte is a new one I've seen, or making more videos and highlights, or just generally maybe hopping back into making vlogs again, whether it be something that's just like a simple sit down talk video or a daily vlog or travel vlog. I want to do more of those. Another goal would be maybe just get better and learn to be better at streaming. And I feel like there's no like top tier of exactly like the best top streamer, because everybody has such different personalities. Yeah, totally. But I want to continue growing and learning how to be the best version of me for my streams and for myself in personal life too.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, I like that a lot.
Thank you.
So Twitch is, I don't know. I feel like they're under a little bit of pressure from some other platforms of streamers leaving and the sort. And Twitch is kind of under this pressure to start implementing some new things. And I feel that one of those things has been channel points. What do you think of the changes that Twitch is bringing to the platform and channel points as a whole?
So channel points in general, I really like personally. I've been using, I kind of bounced around between different chat bots, but I've recently been using Stream Elements and using their channel points. My stream loves to gamble with those things. So, so I really think it's like a fun thing to kind of, to have. I really, for my personal, I keep saying personal. I'm sorry. I keep repeating that word. For my channel, I have a lot of little things that people can unlock. Like, let me see. I have something where you can pet my dog. Like if you redeem petting my dog, I'll just go and pet him for you. Or like a smile time where everybody just stops, takes a moment and smiles. And we do like try to be aware of our surroundings and be aware of ourselves and remind ourselves to smile and to be happy and to cherish the things that we have, to be grateful for what we have, kind of thing. Like a little step back kind of thing, or a hug and stuff. I think it's cool. I think it's like a fun thing that you can implement. And I've seen a lot of channels that have really interesting things that pertain to specifically what they do in their streams. I have something where, I've been trying to find a good balance on making it possible to have monthly VIPs. So I'm using channel points for that. So if they save up a certain amount of channel points over a span of however long it might take, they can redeem to be VIP for an entire month, and then it'll refresh and a new person can have VIP. I think that's a fun thing. And then there's some stuff where, everyone, like the person is spending time watching your streams, right? And with those channel points, that's equating to the time spent. And if they can't, if they're enjoying the content and they want to support you, them being there is amazing, So having something that could be a thing for them to redeem, to be like, hey, I've been watching for, X amount of time. I'd really like to have, say, like for me, I have a thing where I'll take a Polaroid of like myself or my dog or something and send a thank you card for just being here and being a part of the stream. And it's a high value thing, but it's also like, if people are spending that time, I want to do something to say thank you for it. So that's something I think it's a really cool thing to have. There's some changes that Twitch has brought that I've seen a lot of people not happy about. I think the change is really great. I love change in general. Sometimes it's hard to figure out, how does this affect the algorithm of things? And that's always the biggest struggle. Like I saw that with YouTube as well. Like YouTube has had a lot of changes over the years. Holy moly. And I've seen people that, are still kicking butt and grinding it out, figuring out, the different algorithms and how to move with the change. And there's some people who choose not to continue with the change. I'm kind of a part of that group where it's like, I don't really care so much and I'm not really wanting to be a part of it so much. But I think that change is really good. And I like seeing a platform continuously working to add things to their creators and just in general for their viewers and people that are a part of the communities. And I think it's really cool. I think it's fun. Adds a little spice.
And I feel like this opens up kind of the question of originality as well. And that how important do you think that originality is on Twitch?
I think in regards to the platform itself or creators.
Yeah, like creators. I feel that these channel points are giving like more opportunity to be original to creators, with doing specific things for their channel and stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know. This is just a question that's kind of always around for me, in that I just feel like it's really intimidating for new streamers to come on and be like, oh my gosh, there's so many creators doing original things. Like, where do I even start?
Yeah, I get that. I feel like I like that they have different resources and different things that people can use to their benefit if they choose to. But I feel like it's something where you can kind of like channel points, for instance, like it's something you can choose whether or not you really want to have it. But I think it can definitely be overwhelming. Anytime that you start to try to make anything on any place, like in any platform or just in general, it can be super overwhelming. But I think that's where tutorials are really great and wonderful. Like I know when I first started streaming, I didn't start for a while and I would just watch anything and everything, soak up as much information as I could to understand what the platform was, how to use things like OBS and how to set up chatbots and everything like that. Like sit down with it before just jumping in. And I found a lot of like, it was very good for me to do that, I guess. I think originality is super important in general. You know, you got to figure out what works for you. What are things that you enjoy and sticking to that. But the overwhelming factor of having so much is like, ooh. But at least there's more things that you can use and do and have versus being really limited. Yes,
I agree totally. More tools at the disposal.
Exactly. It gives you a lot more options, like so many options to you know, harness your creative outlet and figure out what you want.
And I think that puts some pressure on some bigger streamers to implement some new things as well.
Yeah. Keeps it a little, as I said, spicy. Like, you know, change things up.
Spicy, fresh.
A little spicy.
So, how do you feel about music on stream? I know that you play music, but I believe you play uncopyrighted music, right?
Yeah, so I know when if you guys haven't listened to his podcast with Knackers, you totally should. I've listened to it, I think twice now, just to like get a feel for the conversation there. But of course, it's good. It's great. He mentioned, you know, how copyright is a big thing. And I've experienced that with YouTube. You know, YouTube, you play any music, you're going to get copyright strikes like crazy. I originally started with like, you know, having song requests. This is when I was a newbie. I was like, oh, this is fun. Let everybody, you know, request their music. And then I started to get to this point where I would honestly get overwhelmed with some of the requests. And I'm like, this is too loud. This is too much to kind of handle and figure out. And then I use Pretzel Rocks every now and then, but I feel like their playlist, it's a really great program. But it is a little limited just because of, you know, it's artists that allow you to play your music, copyright free music, or their music. And sometimes like during the holidays, you know, there's not a lot of holiday mixes and I stream for a very long time. So a lot of the time I get through their playlist very quickly. Yeah. Like you just keep hearing repeats. So I've lately just been putting on lo-fi YouTube playlists or live streams just because I really like the vibe. It's fun. It's calm. It's soothing. It's just some little background music to have and it's not overwhelming. And I like being able to just control. Well, I mean, in general, you can control the music volume. Song requests are a little different because everybody's videos might be set to different volumes. So that's where it's like, overwhelming. But also just the fact of, you know, your VODs will be muted if you're playing copyrighted music. There was a stream that I had. Oh man, I love it. I love the clips that I got from it where it was like, I think it was a 24-hour stream that I did. And we were just being real wild and everybody was requesting like, for me, old music, not old music, like music that I would listen to in my middle school years, high school years, you know, stuff they play at the school dance. And I was really rocking out to it. And I snagged those highlights so quickly, as quick as I could so that they wouldn't be muted. But now you can't watch them because they're all muted and it's just me looking like a fool dancing to silence. And I'm like, oh, this is weird. So I try to, with music on stream, I try to stick with something that's going to be copyright free, where if somebody, you know, might have joined in the beginning, but they missed a big portion, but want to go back and watch the VOD, they're not going to be, you know, kept from being able to enjoy whatever topics or conversations we're having because of a muted VOD. And also just so that there isn't a chance of being banned for playing copyrighted music. Like, I don't think it's as intense as it can be on YouTube. But you know, they're working their way up that way. And I'm like, oh, monk ass. Yeah. Monk ass. So I try to stick with copyright free and lo-fi music, and it's just a good vibe.
That's the safe bet.
Yeah. Safe route.
So I've also seen that you do, at least recently, you've done some like remote streams.
Yeah.
How exactly are you setting that up? Like, do you have, like, how does your OBS work with that?
Well, actually, I completely forgot to factor in OBS. When I recently had a trip that I had to take. My partner got into a snowboarding accident, so I went up to him. But I knew that I was going to be away for probably a week, so I was like, let me bring my general travel setup. So I have this a travel setup type thing that I like to use or have. I have a Logitech webcam that I'll bring. I'll have a little tripod with it. Then I have a mouse because I freaking hate using laptop mouse trackpads. They are the worst. They're literally hell. It's hell in a laptop. So I bring a little crappy mouse that I used from the very beginning, and a track like a mouse pad. And then I have my MSI Stealth Pro, I want to say it is, a laptop. So I actually, oh my God, I'm so grateful for that laptop, man. There was a time when I got the laptop, it was during the time where we were selling my childhood home. And at that time, I didn't have a place. Like, my mom is still in the place that I moved to for a momentary time. But we didn't have a place to live after we sold the house. So we moved into a family friend's house, and I was living in the basement, and I couldn't set up my full setup. Like, I couldn't have my PC, the tower, all the monitors, whatever, or even really a monitor, and just move anything around because it was such limited space. And I was living in a small basement. So I had thankfully, an amazing community member made it possible for me to get the laptop, and I went and got the laptop, and I was able to stream with it, and it made streaming possible during a time where I was kind of like, a transition period, trying to figure out where I was going to move. And it also made it possible for me to stream while traveling. And that's a setup that I kind of do. Well, that is the setup that I bring if there's ever a time where I'm traveling or something kind of gets in the way and I'm like, oh crap, I can't stream from my normal place. Like, I need to have something like a little backup. But one great thing is, I know laptops and everything like that for traveling is expensive if you don't have it already. So if I can't stream from that setup, I'll just stream from my phone, because you can. Streamlabs has a really great app that you can stream from if you use Streamlabs. I like Streamlabs a lot. Not like Streamlabs OBS, not about that, not about it. But the alerts and everything, and just general stream content, their app is great. The Twitch app is a little funky with streaming from it, but Yeah, and
they're kind of transitioning into like pay to use.
Yeah.
Their merch store.
Stream Elements just released a merch store, actually.
Oh, interesting. Did not know that.
Yeah, it was like super. Like, I think this past week they launched it.
Good to know. This is why we talk about it.
Yeah. Oh God, merch stuff.
So what did you do about your OBS? Did you have to remake all your scenes?
So kind of. I use cloud service mostly for all of my like overlays, because I design my own overlays. Yeah. So I use like a little cloud service so I can transfer it easily from different computers. And one thing, I completely forgot to do this, but in the past, I've done this where I will go through my scene collection in OBS and export it and then upload it to that cloud. And then from there, pull it and then just like change up, whatever the file name is, if it's not in the same space, in the same place, because it won't be, and just normally do that. So I'll just export the scene selection from, scene collection from OBS from my main computer and then put it to my laptop. And then sometimes I'll honestly, like the past week when I was traveling and streaming remotely, I just went through and made it very simple. Like, just have a start scene, an end scene, an away scene, zoom, and then talking. And that was it. That still sounds like a lot, but yeah.
Understandable.
Yeah.
But that sounds stressful.
It's kind of, but it's not. It's the fact that OBS has the export option is such a nice thing.
That's amazing.
So
OBS
nice.
is such an amazing software that is totally available for free.
It is amazing. I don't understand how people don't use OBS. Like, why use Slumps? I'm sorry, no offense, Streamlabs, but like, your shit's good, but it's not as good.
yeah. I feel like Streamlabs OBS is kind of for the newer people, because they have like the built-in like overlays and stuff for everyone.
It's a very useful tool and resource for anybody who is starting off streaming or like wanting to dabble in, Streamlabs OBS and Streamlabs in general. They've got really great stuff. that is
Yeah.
available to everybody. You know, it's a good tool. It's a good starter. And then you can
But don't put all your eggs in one basket.
Yeah,
though.
but don't
use everything.
basket. Use it all. Everything's out there for you. Use it.
Yeah.
Learn from it.
One thing I definitely want to talk about before we wrap up is the idea of moderation and how you handle it.
And like, what about it?
At what point did you know you needed like mods?
Immediately.
Yeah.
Oh God. Look at us, all those stinking trolls. No, thankfully, like with making videos online, I kind of grew a very thick skin very quickly. But just for general peace of mind and also for everybody else a part of the community and a part of streams, moderation is super important. So first of all, setting up chatbots like Nightbot, Streamlabs, and Stream Elements has a chatbot. There's MooBot. There are so many chatbots that help you set up commands, timers, all sorts of really great things that are useful to have during streams. Things like, you have commands for certain social links or anything that you think is a valuable thing that you get asked about quite often. Having something like that. There's times where like I'll use the moderation, like the chatbot. Oh God, when I would stream Fortnite, the amount of people that would come in, the amount of like kids, I get it. It's their game. I get it. I'd be the same way. They'd come in and be like, can I play? I set up a bot that would respond to anybody asking play ? That'd be like, she doesn't have it open, not open lobby. She'll let you know kind of thing. So it was like an automatic response type thing. It's so useful. So damn useful. So
that's hilarious.
Just immediately like have stuff to moderate. Just tweak your settings in general too, because sometimes like even now my Streamlabs chatbot I need to work on because that boy is it's spicy. It is immediately spamming like, okay, nope, you can't have this, ban. I'm like, no. And the settings generally are quite high, so you just got to tweak them. But moderators in general, like actual IRL people moderators, I kind of when I first started, just moderated anybody, like all my friends that I knew IRL that would join me. I'd be like, oh, can you help me? If you're there, you see somebody be a dingus, just, time them out, swipe that sword. But more recently, I realized that having a good team behind you, like a good group of friends or people that are there constantly and are helpful, people who are welcoming, people who are in chat that are like, they're being really positive, good parts of the community and have a big play in the community. Having someone that understands your general flow of, how you want things to run. Because not everybody is the same. Everyone's like, oh, I like funny, sarcastic trolls. That's fine. And there are some people who are like, I really don't like it. It really upsets me and I don't want that in my chat. So having a group, like a core group of people to kind of understand your general flow is so valuable. And I have a thing in my own Discord where my moderators and I have like our private conversation where we'll be like, okay, this is the flow that we want. If you see, like I'm very organized with this, where like I have general rules for moderators and I make it very clear, like if they step out of line of like, I don't feel comfortable with how they're treating other people, then I will directly talk with them. And also like it'll, you cross the line and you're no longer mod kind of thing. But also just like having that communication and be like, hey, so this kind of behavior happened the other day, or even things that I won't notice that they keep track of so that they understand and know and talk amongst themselves to be like, hey, this person came in the other day. They were kind of trolly. We're giving them a little chance, maybe they're just like some people say random stuff and funny jokes that maybe not like aren't picked up immediately. Let's keep our eye on them kind of thing. But just having the communication with your moderators is really great. And there's always, especially in Just Chatting, and especially as a female, my titties are stealing the streams, even though they're never exposed or anything like that. But like, there's always going to be people that trolls that come in and say something like that to anybody, really. So you want to kind of make sure that you have someone who can help moderate that and keep the peace, so that way you can focus on what it is you're talking about or focus on what you're doing and not have to tab out and time out someone or have to, get in if like someone says something that, might put you in a really bad headspace and funk up the whole rest of the stream, you know, the whole vibe of everything. So having that's good. That was a very long-winded answer to that question.
I like it. So your Discord, how did you like, I don't know, this is like a whole hour-long topic as it is. Like, when did your Discord like gradually grow, and then you like were forced to learn how to like manage a serious Discord server, or did you like, what was this process of managing a professional Discord server?
Oh man. So when I first started Discord, I thankfully hopped in when I first came out. But oh man, did I learn quickly. So they have a thing where you can like send text to speech, and I remember the first early stages of my Discord server, like there wasn't that many people in it, thankfully, but there were some people that were like, oh, let me just send some text to speech. And it would just randomly read aloud things to people in the server. And I was like, oh, we gotta fix this quick. So it was a very quick learning experience for me. Yeah. I could just kind of figure out, you know, what to use, how to use it. Discord in and of itself is such a wonderful tool, wonderful place. It is amazing. It takes over Skype. It takes over forums. It's like the best.
It can be complicated.
It can be. It definitely can. Oh my God. I can only imagine like some people's reactions to see the back end of my Discord, because there are so many things that are hidden. There's so many different roles that factor into stuff.
Yeah, I'm sure.
There's really great bots that there are for Discord that you can react to certain things to assign yourself a role. So people can be like, hey, I'm interested in YouTube. I'm interested in memes and funny things. I'm interested in tech. And you can assign those roles and unlock those secret channels. They're not really secret. It's just private, so it's kind of like you get to, in my server personally, I like to have the option to kind of pick out what you like and not have to see the things you don't like. And it has been, and I still feel like I'm learning with it. It's been a long learning experience for figuring out the best way to do everything, but definitely very quickly learned how to not be to not have the things that are like, you know, tagging everyone in every single post or text to speech, and using roles to the advantage. Roles are such a great thing in Discord.
Yeah. Discord gets crazy.
Oh yeah. I love it.
So it's about time, but I always ask a couple questions to everyone before we end. What keeps you motivated to continue to create content and be on Twitch?
The community, and also just wanting to have personal growth and learn more and have things to progress with. I think the community itself, like, just motivates me. Like, there are times where I feel like poop. It's just a poop day, you know? Yeah. And I feel no motivation. I feel nothing. And then I'll just like sit down and talk in Discord, and the community is just like, you know, just so dope. And I'm like, damn, y'all motivate me to be a better person. Like, this is so great. So I'd have to say the community, definitely.
That's awesome. Yeah. Who are some underrated streamers that you would encourage others to check out?
I've got a lot of names. Well, Knackers you already interviewed. He's so freaking, I love that dude is so inspiring in so many different ways. Like, there's a lot of things. So talented. Oh my God, his quality is amazing. I have a friend who I actually met through YouTube, and he started streaming I want to say a year or two ago. His name's Crossing Casey. He's going to be doing a lot of like Animal Crossing when it comes out. But the way he is with his streams is inspiring to me. I feel like his personality is really fun. Reanimator is a lovely lady I met through streaming. And she is just such a fun personality. There is another guy named Clone Corp. And if you're looking for interesting production and also wanting to go to a rave, his streams are litty titty, as the kids say. It's very interesting. And he streams so much, like 3 times a day, every day.
Goodness.
Like, he's nuts, and just it's so inspiring. Such a cool dude too. And then if you're looking for something like art, it's a dear friend that I met through Twitch, but she also does all of my emotes and sub badges and stuff. Her name's Activate Angel, and I love watching her art process. It's so cool. So cool. And then another artist is a painter. Her name's A.O. Kate. And I love her too. There's so many people. There's so many damn people. I'm sorry I'm like giving you a whole list of people, but
No, you're good. This is my favorite part of the podcast.
I have two others that they don't have cam, but I just love their personalities and their voices are actually sisters. One is named Alicia Chanel. I could like message it to you. It's I think French. It's like Cheneaux. And then it's Lolita Gaming. They both have just such fun energies and voices, and they're just so fun to watch. I really enjoy them.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, and the final question.
Yes.
How many 5-year-olds do you think you could take before they overpower you?
Oh my God, this question. This freaking question.
It's important.
5-year-olds,
This is
one.
important.
One. Just kidding. No. The whole limbs conversation, factors in. Like, if they could just attach themselves to my limbs, I could keep it going. But I also just spent a week in Disney with like a 6-year-old, 7-year-old, and like, goddamn, I'm tired. It was exhausting. Just with one. Is it like, am I beating them up kind of thing? It's such a weird.
You just have to have them not beat you up.
Okay, I can handle.
You could just do like the classic like hand in the face move.
Yeah. You're right.
But you only got 2 hands.
Only got 2 hands. I got feet too. I could like do a weird position. We'll say 4. 4 sounds like an adequate number.
Yeah, that's about average for people I've asked, I think.
But like exhaustion level, probably like 2. Kids are high energy, man. Oh my God.
They can go forever. And they got like bendy
hours.
Bones.
Oh yeah. And they'll recuperate so fast. You knock them down, they bounce back up.
Yeah, they're like
you knock
rubber
my
bands.
butt down, I'm freaking down.
Yeah.
down for the count.
Yeah. Awesome. Thank you so much for being here, Gray. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. Where can people find you?
Pirate Grayson everywhere, and then Twitch would be gamewithGRAY.
Awesome. Thank you. I've really appreciated this, and I'm sure we'll see each other on the internet.
Absolutely. I appreciate you, and I know everyone listening appreciates you too. You're making great content.
Thank you.
You're welcome.